Nowhere, I murmured, having had my senses back again. However, I now sat at a different bench just behind the one I was sitting on before. The old man was now returning with a different look on his face. My people, he began, Ekarita don't talk her mind. Before I talk wetin that better woman talk, make I first tell these three boys something. He now moved his attention from the fewer crowd now to us. Like I been talk before, no be to fight be the problem. Na wetin fit comot from the fight na there wahala fit dey. Dis small place dis woman dey stay do her small business na where una say make una fight. But we don know say the old man now seemed to be beating around a bush. Clearly, what Rita's mom told him seemed to be not what he wanted, but I was yet to find out. And I'll have to wait until he finishes his unnecessary long talk. The discomfort from the patch of oil that splashed on my foot now seemed to have made way for another discomfort, now in my thoughts. Just moments ago, my properties that I flung into the bush never crossed my mind, but right now, the need to retrieve my phone and the anxiety I am beginning to have because of it is distracting me from this old man's waggling mouth. I wished he'd just skip to the part where I'm told how much I am to pay as part of this alleged 5 gallons. Again, my heart twitched at the glaring and blatant lie. However, what I did not prepare for was a disappointment. The kind of disappointment that was supposed to bring me relief. As I struggled to bring my attention back to the old man, his words continued into an unexpected tone. But sometimes, na God will dey leave everything for him hand. Dis place, even dis street no be place wey dey come fight. In fact, na why people gather reach like dis because no be normal thing to see fight for dis side. But as the woman wey get business don talk, make una just carry una trouble dey go, but we don sabi una faces. We no talk say make una no come patronize her, but if una enter dis street again come fight, na dat time we go remind una about dis night. Who get ear, make e hear. Then he turned around and started walking away. At first, his last words didn't make complete sense to me. Is she letting us off the hook? Are they? The questions lingered in my mind for a while. Then I observed the few crowds who were fast dispersing. When the short guy and his friend stood up and left, I knew for sure that my guess was right. Contrary to my initial reaction the moment I remembered my items in the bush, I now waited a minute or so before I stood up to leave. All the emotions and anger that enveloped me earlier had gone, leaving me with only realities and assessment of my actions in the past 30 minutes. Rita and her mom had restored their fireplace and the frying basin as well, and we are making preparations now to resume business. Once again, I was able to think about her, more so in a thankful way. I had not forgotten the moment she whispered into her mom's ear, even while I was in the heat of the crowd. I imagined if I will ever have a chance to ask her what she said to her, if I will ever have a chance to ask her anything. The chance seemed slim right now. I had also observed she hadn't for a moment looked my way ever since the crowd dispersed. And I couldn't help thinking maybe a part of her is displeased with me for the damages I had caused. Perhaps I should have paid. However, I never really allowed myself to think about how I was going to provide the money had they insisted. My phone and my wallet were not handy, and I don't even want to imagine what anyone would think if I said, "Let me get my wallet and my phone," and just start walking into the bush. With a clear head now, I almost laughed at that thought. Moments later, I was inside the bush, searching around for my phone and wallet. Again, the anxiety in me started increasing. It was taking longer than I had expected.
Uncle, are you sure it was here that you left it?
The kid's voice and the question made me feel a bit unserious and stupid. Every word in that question silently screamed, "Who hides their phones in the bush in the night and was initially searching for it in the dark?" I didn't leave it here. I flung them inside here from the road. I then moved his small phone to illuminate the area he and his brother were searching. The heap of the fallen leaves under the melina tree was large, and I guessed somehow my items may have gotten buried under them. Try to move the leaves.
But uncle,
The younger one winced.
why would you throw your phone inside the bush? What if you crack the screen?
Let's find the phone first. Swayed the light towards my own side, revealing more heap of dead leaves. The idea of my phone screen cracking ran through my mind, but I assured myself that if I aim the light, then these leaves are enough cushion for the landing. Earlier on, I had searched the bushes hoping that the moon's illumination would be enough for me. But after a fertile 5 minutes, I had to call in the assistance of these two boys who are both about 10 years old and live nearby. They were willing to help me from the first minute. I found it more comfortable explaining briefly to them what we had to look for, and it was a lot easier and less embarrassing than it would have been with a grown-up. I had promised them a reward once we found the items, and that made them even happier and more ready. With the aid of the small phone torchlight one of them had, we set out searching. We had spent almost another 5 minutes before the first kid made an announcement.
Uncle, I have seen an earpiece. Is it yours?
I had totally forgotten that I flung 3 items into the bush. Yes, please, I'm coming there now. With a little sense of geometry and speed, I mentally drew an area coverage of where the phone and the wallet would be. Knowing that the earpiece is the lightest, then the wallet, and then the phone, I calculated that the wallet and the phone would be a bit further into the bush from where the earpiece fell. Science hardly disappoints, and we were out of the bush within the next 2 minutes. On the road now, I cleaned my wallet off the dead leaves and the moist and flipped it open. The single 500 naira, single 200 naira, and another single 100 naira notes were all intact. I pulled out the 200 naira and handed to the two boys. Moments later, they disappeared as quickly as their joy rose. As I began my walk back to my house, I inspected my phone for any damages. From the screen to the body, none. It was so moist, though, that I feared some water droplets may have percolated inside the phone's circuitry. But every bit of the phone was still working alright. I had just checked the phone's functionality, from the touchscreen calibration to the three side buttons. No issues. The time had also read 3 minutes after 9 p.m., and I knew I needed to hasten my pace. The evening had been an eventful one, and I had the pain on my foot to remind me how intense it was. From being bored in the house to walking a street I've never entered before, then a girl I knew nothing about suddenly developed a pull on me, so strong that it made me turn back from entering my house. From buying items I never needed to fighting two guys that could have been any type of person on the surface of the earth. I could have been paying through my nose now for additional imaginary gallons of oil. And now, remembering the old man's lying face made me shook my head. I never even got to establishing a proper conversation with the girl at the center of this night's happenings, and that wasn't a good omen. To cap it off, I may have left an indelible negative impression, and a very loud one at that. An impression that would take a long period to change, and that if the chance would ever present itself. As I reached the exact location at which I turned around about half an hour ago, I couldn't help tagging it a wrong decision. I took the final 5 steps and turned into my street. There was NEPA light now, but it had little effect on exciting me. The only thing that lights up a part of my face was knowing that I beat the living hell out of the short guy. He deserved every part of the ordeal my knuckles subjected him to, and even the oil that poured on him. Climbing the short corridor that led to my apartment and pulling out the single key of my door, I was ready to forget about all of this evening. I may have crushed two touts that unknowingly needed beating so badly, but I never got the girl, or so I thought.